When the echoes of war finally fell silent in 1945, the world was left with more than ruins and victory parades. It was left with artifacts, symbols of power, hate, courage, and invention. Some of these relics were preserved in museums, while others were buried deep, locked away, or banned entirely. They weren't forbidden because they were deadly weapons, but because they carried the weight of ideology, fear, or danger within their very fabric. The uniforms, badges, and equipment of the Second World War became relics too heavy for society to bear. They were reminders not of glory, but of what humanity could become when pride and propaganda mixed with destruction. These are the pieces of history you cannot legally own, the forbidden gear of WWII that still whisper stories the world wishes to forget. The SS uniform remains perhaps the most notorious garment ever created. Sleek, black, and meticulously tailored, it was designed not merely for appearance, but for intimidation. Every stitch and insignia was calculated to project dominance. After the fall of Nazi Germany, these uniforms were outlawed, their production banned, and their possession restricted. Germany and Austria strictly prohibit the public display or trade of authentic SS attire. The intent is clear: to prevent the rebirth of symbols that once brought unimaginable suffering. Only museums and filmmakers, under strict licensing, are allowed to recreate or display them for education. For collectors, these uniforms represent the sharp line where history meets horror, a reminder that design can be weaponized. The German paratrooper helmet tells a similar story. Sleek and practical, it protected airborne soldiers with unmatched efficiency. Its low-slung shape became an icon of German engineering, influencing helmets worldwide. But those bearing original Nazi insignia, swastikas or Luftwaffe eagles, are now illegal to trade or display in much of Europe. Even though they are engineering marvels, their untouched decals mark them as instruments of hate. Collectors must strip or deface them to own them legally, a small but powerful act of cleansing history from its toxic symbols. Then there are the Japanese Imperial officer swords, or gunto, the proud blades carried into battle as extensions of honor. Many were forged from ancestral blades, symbolizing a link between warrior and family. After Japan's surrender, the Allied forces seized these swords by the hundreds of thousands. Some became souvenirs, others museum pieces, but those marked with the imperial chrysanthemum remain sacred. They are considered national treasures in Japan, protected under cultural heritage law. To own one without authorization is a violation not just of law, but of cultural reverence. Outside Japan, importing one without documentation can lead to confiscation and heavy penalties. What was once a weapon of prestige is now a relic of restricted honor. The most haunting artifacts, though, are the concentration camp guard badges and armbands. These simple cloth and metal insignia marked those who enforced the darkest chapters of human history. Today, their possession is almost universally banned. Trading or displaying them is not only illegal, but considered deeply unethical. Unlike medals or uniforms, these items represent direct participation in atrocity. They exist only in the confines of museums, preserved to teach rather than to glorify. Not every banned item carries political weight. Some are forbidden for safety. During the war, Allied engineers experimented with early body armour, testing plates made from steel, resin and fiberglass, mixed with toxic adhesives. Many of these prototypes contained asbestos, a deadly material. Though revolutionary at the time, these vests are now hazardous relics. Among the strangest forbidden relics are the Luftwaffe goggles with radioactive lenses. In their quest for superior visibility, German engineers added thorium to the glass, enhancing clarity. They succeeded, but at a cost. The element is radioactive, and over time, exposure can cause harm. Even camouflage patterns weren't spared from the list of forbidden items. The Waffen SS pioneered revolutionary designs like oak leaf and plane tree, patterns that, really defined modern military camouflage. Their efficiency and innovation influenced armies all over the world. But because these designs are inseparable from the SS, they are, banned from reproduction in several European countries. Each of these artifacts tells a story, not of nostalgia, but of warning. They show that war is fought not only with bullets and bombs, but with symbols, colours and uniforms that shape identity and, honestly, fear. The ban on these items is not censorship. It is society's way of drawing a line between remembrance and revival. To hold such an artifact is to hold power over memory itself, and power, as history teaches, must be handled carefully. Museums preserve them so, future generations can learn without repeating the past. Private ownership, however, risks turning tragedy into trophy. As years pass, fewer veterans remain, and the world's connection to World War II fades. The relics grow rarer, and with rarity comes temptation. Collectors seek authenticity, historians seek truth, and opportunists seek profit. But some things by law and by conscience must remain forbidden. The SS cap, the marked sword, the radioactive goggles, all serve as reminders that some parts of history are simply too dangerous to hold. They belong not in private collections, but in the shared memory of humankind. History, after all, is not just what we remember. It's also what we refuse to repeat.